I chose to do my final project on my dad, Anthony Morse. Telling his story, I plan on tying it to the theme happiness and a good life. Anthony Morse was born on March 13, 1974 in the American Fork Hospital. He is the oldest of 3 siblings. He grew up in a neighborhood near American Fork High School. His father was a Marine instructor at Camp Williams after he served in Vietnam. He grew up loving everything outdoors and sports. He continued to grow up in AF for the remainder of his elementary school and junior high years. He was serving as the junior high class president, but when he came home, his life started changing forever. His dad left their home unexpected and unplanned. His mom had no money, no education, or job at the time, and needed to take care of 3 kids. Anthony took it on himself to start taking care of his family. He started working for his grandpa's construction company to pay his family's house payment, school clothes, and food. During this time, his mom was trying to go back to school to get her education to become a school teacher. He had been working for construction for about a year and playing high school football when his life changed drastically. It was October 16th, 1981. Tony was now 16-year-old, digging a sewage trench trying to add a septic tank. He had to get into the hole to connect the tank to the sewer when the trench collapsed. The mud buried him from his ankles up to his neck. Construction workers frantically raced over to Tony to try and get him out, but the mud was too heavy. His uncle was operating a backhoe about 200 feet away from him and raced towards him. He got to Tony and started digging him out. He got him out and Tony stood up, blood flowing out of his ears, and walked to the work truck. The workers rushed him to Utah Valley Medical Center. He arrived at the emergency room where he was being helped by his uncle when he saw the first hospital bed and sat down on it. As soon as he laid down, he passed out and was in a coma for the next 8 days. During the accident, he had 2 blown eardrums and cracked his skull. They used skin grafts to repair his eardrums, but he was still unresponsive. A neurologist came in to monitor his brain activity and told his mom that he had 4% chance to live, but she knew the fight wouldn't stop. It was the 8th day of his coma, and Tony was put into a machine to do a CAT scan, when he had an encounter with his grandpa, who had passed away when he was 10. Tony's grandpa said, "Tony, you have 2 choices. You can come home with me right now, or you can stay here and get things done that you need to." After the CAT scan, he woke up 2 hours later. The recovery had now started. He was in the hospital for the following 2 weeks. Tony still had problems hearing and seeing, double vision, but it was what the doctors had said would happen for the next few months. To help with the vision, they used an eye patch to cover one of his eyes so he could see one instead of double vision. Tony is very lucky to be here. He now has a family of 4, my mom, my older brother, and me. He can hear and doesn't have many side effects to this day. He overcame many obstacles in his life to live the life that he wanted to. His story of perseverance and fight ties into the theme of happiness and the good life. He went from being a 15-year-old paying his house payment to a 4% chance of living and having a family of 4. His story shows a lot of strength and courage. This is Anthony Tyler Morse.